So, there are only two difficulties in life: change and doing what you have to do. So, sailing. Now, Langston is my closest friend, one of my best friends, and part of being a friend of Langston's is embracing the concept of difficulty. What I mean is never trust a sailor. I really do mean it. Never trust a sailor unless you are sailing. Because if you're not sailing, they're not on the boat, and that means something has gone horribly wrong. They are drowning or at a bar talking to you about sailing, and that is, if anything, worse than drowning. Now hear me out. As annoying as this man is, I spend an embarrassingly long amount of time in a day with him. We enjoy each other's company, begrudgingly. Now, hear me out. Difficulty, Langston. Well, what that means with Langston is you have to become a sailor. And I hate that. You have to become a sailor, and you have to go sailing. Now, don't tell him I said this, because it would go to his head. Langston is what Newport is if Newport were a person. Langston is what Newport is if Newport were a person. What that means is he's tall, but not too tall. He's handsome in a symmetrical man sort of way. You know, he would wear a scarf, a linen white scarf, in the heat of battle. He was born on the south coast of Devonshire, and he is a queen-loving, woodworking, pipe-smoking believer in art, wine, and women. This is Langston, and there's nothing I can do about it. But he enjoys my company, and I enjoy writing, and we talk. So that leads to an invitation of sailing. I have to go sailing with Langston. And if you go sailing with Langston, that means you're racing on Weatherly. Weatherly. This man has lived 3 lives, and each one of them can be traced back to Antigua, the islands, England, and racing on Weatherly in a southerly breeze. And that's what we're doing. Langston and I are sailing, and what that means for me is I'm being very quiet. And he's standing behind me. I'm holding the coffee grinders. Now, all you need to know about racing a sailboat is that you want to win. Point A to point B, you want to win. So that's all we want to do. That's all I care about. And so I'm standing there waiting for him to tell me to take in the line. He loves telling people to take in the line. Just a touch, please. Just a touch more, please, Jessie. And so we're there. We're underway now. The motor is turned off and we're racing. It's quiet. There's this quiet push of flying. And I kind of understand why sailors talk about sailing all the time. Now it's quiet. So that means something's going on. And Langston is not quiet because he's never quiet. He never stops talking. And for lack of a better phrase, he's running his mouth. He's talking a lot of trash. And I'm standing there, and I don't want to admit that I don't really know anything. I just kind of want to look the part, because that's a lot of what sailing's all about. You know, and I'm kind of standing there with my sunglasses on, ready. I look ready. That's really all it is, looking ready. You know, so, and then it's quiet. You hear this hush. And you hear Langston talking the whole time. He's talking the whole time, and we're all listening because we have to. That's what he's good at. He gets you in a situation where you have to listen. You have to listen to him. And what's annoying is because, you know, he's the gas pedal. He's the, you know, the starboard trimmer, and I'm turning the handles over to take the line, and so I have to listen to him. And, you know, and I have to be ready to listen to the captain as well. But Langston has become the captain. He's not even the captain, and he's become the captain. I just wanted to drink coffee. I just wanted to enjoy my day on the beach, but I'm racing. And Langston is talking, and I'm listening. And he says to another crew member, he's like, oh yes, when I first moved to Newport, I was a winger on the rugby team. And I'd never heard that before, and I believed it. He was a winger on the rugby team. He was the captain of the cricket team. There's a cricket team. I didn't know that. And, you know, the man listening to him, he's kind of new to the crew. He doesn't know Weatherly, so that means he doesn't know Langston. And anybody who knows Weatherly should know Langston. That's what Langston would tell you. And so we're standing there, and I'm listening. And he, and kind of, this man, this sailor, Langston, he's a man of an age. He's old. And don't tell him I said that, because he doesn't want to hear that. So he's old, and he's talking about playing rugby recently. He's 63. And like, he's not running the wing recently. Love him to death. But he's not running, but I'm there listening. And I think he played rugby last week. But this man hears him say, oh, I was a winger for the Newport Rugby Club. And his reaction was to say, oh, that must have been a midlife crisis. And that was the worst thing you could have ever said to this man. And I was quiet and excited to hear what he was going to say. And so Langston standing there like this, wide, you can hear James Bond playing as if he saw in a crystal ball that this was going to happen. He was like, you could hear the salivating. He was ready to say something. And he says, I've never had a crisis. Of course he's had a crisis. He's 63. I'm quietly standing there going, you're 63. That means you've fallen in love. And it didn't work at least once. You've lied to your mom. You've lost a job. You've lost a game. You've lost a lot of money. You fell off of a bicycle. Of course he's had a crisis. But he didn't. In that voice of his, he was looking at all of us, and he's never had a crisis. We're standing there, and we have to believe him. And I don't know if it was the sailing or his voice, but I believed him. Now, I'm supposed to be here and talk to you about how to tell the truth. And I have no idea how to tell the truth. I hang out too much with Langston. The only truth that comes out of our mouths is the air we breathe, and then the rest is 9 parts fiction and 1 part what happened. So I'm going to tell you another story, and I want you to focus on what happened and tell me if that even matters really. I hate this. I'm sailing. I've somehow found a way to get paid to sail, and I hate sailors. And annoyingly, I'm at the front of the boat. I'm at the bow of the boat. I need to show you that I know what the bow is. I'm at the bow, ready like this. And I shouldn't be at the bow because I don't know what I'm doing. But I look exactly like I know what I'm doing. I'm a good actor. And the bow of the boat, again, we're racing, and all you need to know is we want to come in first. But all you need to know is that the bow of the boat is like the front of the line. If you're at the front of the line, you know where you're going. You're going to take everybody there, and you can talk to the back of the line and be like, hey, we got here. What do you think? Should we do something else? So that's what happens in racing a sailboat, and I'm at the front of the line, and I have no idea where to go, how to get there, and what we're doing, really. And there's the bowman. The bowman's looking at me, and he gives me one job. I'm going to take the sail as far back, that's aft. I'm going to take the sail as far back as I can, and in my head, I'm going to do it as fast as I can and as strong as I can because I am the world's greatest sailor today. I've never sailed, but I believe in myself. I don't want to lose to these guys. I don't want to have to tell Langston that I messed up. He'd just ask me anyway, or really tell me how I messed up. But so I'm running the sail back. It's my one job. The call is made, and I'm going as fast as I can. And what happens in between confidence and misery is forgetfulness. I forgot everything. I forgot my name, where I was, the fact that I was on a boat, and I turned really just into my psyche, which is an angry redhead whose main goal is to survive, and I'm going to be the best at surviving. So I'm running back, and someone forgot to close the hatch. I don't see that the hatch is covered. So I run back, and the hatch is about the size of this red circle, and it's perfect for catching a moron like me. So I run back as fast as I can, and I am consumed by a sail into this hole. And as I'm falling, you know, it's funny how falling reminds me of my kitchen table. I'm falling, and I remember my kitchen table and my dad's big, knuckly hands, the kind of hand where you can't take off the wedding ring. And we're having this conversation at the kitchen table. And he says to me, Jessie, just wear the mask. You gotta just wear the mask. You become the mask eventually. And I look at him, and I'm kind of profoundly ready to quip him, and I say, I don't want to join a team. And I think that's really, really kind of something. I don't want to join this team. And as I'm falling in this sushi roll of sail, I am on a team. I'm literally on a sailboat team, and we're racing. And whether I like it or not, I'm here. So as I'm falling, my left face hits the bottom, and my psyche takes over. The angry redhead is here. Now, I hit my left face on the ground, and I bounce. And I pommel horse up and out through the hatch in honestly half a second. I cannot tell you how it happened, but I'm fine. I'm up through the hatch, and then in a flash, I'm back at the bow. I'm back at the bow, and there's one bead of sweat coming down my forehead, and the bowman looks at me and he says, "Did you just fall down the hatch?" And I look at him. I'm kneeling, and I look at him. Now remember, I hate sailors. They're pragmatic. They're logical. They're problem solvers. They like to really not panic, you know. Sailors don't do anything quickly. They just know what they're doing. So I'm back at the bow, looking around, doing my best imitation of a sailor. And he says, did you just fall down the hatch? And I look him dead in the eyes, and I say, I have no idea what you are talking about. I had no idea what he was talking about. And so there's this call. The captain, the skipper makes the call, and we're back on the high side standing like this. And I remember why people enjoy sailing. You know, you're flying. You're flying over water. You know, when I first came to Newport, driving over that bridge, you see these nets that catch the wind and fly. That's what sailboats do. And I was flying for a really short while. And then I thought, why do sailors do this? It's really just kind of exhausting. You know, sailing looks quiet from the bridge, but this is what it really sounds like. Go! And that's what happened. So the skipper makes the call, and we have to do it again. I just fell through a hatch, floated to the top, was back at the bow. I don't want to do that again. I don't want to do that again. And so I'm back at the bow with the bowman, and the sail engulfs, catches momentum. We're flying. I'm there at the front of the line. Feels pretty good. And as the sail unfurls, black sunglass plastic flows down, lands on the foredeck, and disappears into the Narragansett Bay. And the bowman looks at me and he says, "Did you see that?" And I look at him. My sunglasses are gone. I look him dead in the eyes and I say, "I have no idea what you're talking about. I've never had a crisis." Thank you.